You know, you are a creator and you're an artist in 1989 Austin. Different time, different cultural landscape, all kinds of things are different.
What was it like to be a Latino 18-year-old in Austin?
Yeah.
Well, when I was 18 years old, my four heroes were Lydia Mendoza, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Flaco Jimenez, and Edie Brickell. And from Lydia Mendoza, I learned the beautiful poetry of the Spanish language of the border, Los Besos de Mi Negra, Mal Hombre. Some of her most beautiful performances really stuck with me, the poetry of those. From Stevie Ray Vaughan, his struggles, his prowess, his soul, his groove. From Flaco Jimenez, his troubadour spirit and his prowess as an accordionist, and that groove that was in my blood. It was my lifeblood as growing up as a Tex-Mex, a Tejano son of this beautiful world we call Texas. From Edie Brickell, I was given this. So many were given this koan that said, "What I am is what I am. Are you what you are, or what?" And that really hit me as a 16, 17-year-old. What I am is what I am. And I thought, well, who I am is David. What I am is a musician. My parents named me David. They didn't name me Dave. They didn't name me David.
This is simply David. This is the spirit in David working in the world.
Just listening to all the types of music when I was a kid. My brothers influenced me in this way, my mom influenced me, and my dad influenced me this way. Yo le pregunté a la palma que si estaba en el floreo para mandarle por correo 4 suspiros del alma, pobrecita de la palma.
And so I came to Austin with that. I came to Austin with those pillars, that I wanted to be as badass a musician as Stevie Ray Vaughan or Flaco Jimenez, and as incredible a poet and performer as Lydia Mendoza or Edie Brickell. So I came to Austin. That was my armor. So I had no problem saying that my name was David Garza.
My name is David Garza.
But Austin in 1989 was a rock and roll town. It was either, it was Willie Nelson's country world, or Townes Van Zant's folk world, or Fabulous Thunderbird's rock and roll world, or Dangerous Toys or Pariah or all that stuff. And I loved all that music. But also there was the incredible, just single-eyed genius of Rocky Erickson, of Daniel Johnson. So I was aware of all that stuff. And I feel that maybe some of the resistance to who I was and what the music I was playing was based on they had never seen someone my age who wasn't a novelty. These were rock guys that grew up with the Replacements and the Stones. They didn't know what to make of a skinny little Tex-Mex dude strumming his guitar in front of hundreds of kids for free on the university campus with no PA, and filling clubs and selling thousands of cassettes without their help. I wasn't a product of the Austin Chronicle or the Austin American Statesman. I came up while they were sleeping their hangovers over. We played in broad daylight. So it was, I think they just didn't know what to make of me. So, but I knew I could play. I had no question about that. I knew I could sing. I knew I could perform. I knew I could make people dance. But those, I feel like it just was I was so weird to them that they didn't know what to make of me. So, yeah.
It wasn't necessarily that they may have viewed you as less than, as much as they were confused, maybe. That,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they were used to seeing people, rock and rollers, wearing leather jackets, playing in dark clubs with smoky this, running through the ranks of open mic nights and stuff like that. And me and my buddies, we just came with acoustic, upright bass and bongos and acoustic guitar, and we're singing songs that were weird to them with rhythms that were not rock and roll rhythms. This is like, boleros and cumbias and African influenced music and reggae. It was everything that Austin was not at that point. And of course now Austin music is so much of that, but this was, it was so weird to them and so new. So yeah, it was exciting,
And pre-internet, you really did have regional scenes.
Completely.
Right? Like they were,
Yeah.
there was proprietary natures to them.
Well, yeah, when hearing, that's the rhythm I grew up with. That was my Johnny B. Good. That's Austin in 1989, which I love, but we were doing, and people were had never heard it. The kids had never heard it. There was no internet to tell them what cumbia was. So those are the rhythms that were created outdoors. Rock and roll was created with electricity, and we were of the earth. We were little hippie kids, and yeah. So I think that was a lot of it. Regional music, the music of San Antonio was completely different than the music of Austin, and it's a 45-minute drive, and that's incredible. The regionalism of that time was really evident. Also, I was from Dallas, and Dallas and Austin were not friends at that point, and so I got it from both sides. People from Dallas were mad that I was trying to be an Austin guy, and Austin guys were like, "Who's this Dallas dork?"
You were very prolific. You've always been very prolific. You've always created, and yet, having earned a Grammy with Fiona Apple, were there personal attacks to the art at times that you were dealing with, and that you had to negotiate?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was called out, of course, for using my name, which they thought was an egotistical, grandiose thing. And again, that's probably, I just chalked it up to people just not understanding where I came from. But then there was people would refer to me, I think the main thing that the people would call me was pretentious. And whatever stuff they would try to, throw at me, it was tough at the time, but but then my people who loved me, people told me, look, man, that has nothing to do with your music. That's just a personal thing. They feel, who are you to walk standing up straight, calling yourself David when you haven't paid dues, You didn't slug it through the clubs for 10 years to earn 800 people at your show. You've only been here 8 months. So people are gonna come at you with something. Again, because we were outsiders, we were renegades, me and my crew. But the personal attacks I knew were not real. I always just wanted my heroes to shake my hand and smile and welcome me, and that happened. I got to meet Charlie Sexton. I got to meet Daniel Johnson and play with him. I got to meet Rocky Erickson. I got to meet Stevie Ray Vaughan and be invited into his last recording session 6 weeks before he passed away with Nile Rodgers and Jimmy Vaughan. He and his management invited myself and my brother Howell to the studio. I mean, can you imagine being 19 years old and being able to meet your hero like that? I got to meet Flaco Jimenez later on down the line. I got to meet all my heroes, and I got to be on stage with, Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam, and to collaborate with another one of my heroes, Fiona Apple. So it's and that's just a small list of the people, you know, that I got to meet. So that's how I consider happiness, you know, and whatever success. If people want to still slag me for dressing a certain way or looking a certain way or calling myself a certain thing, that's they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But if you can sink the 3-pointers and the free throws, that's all you need. You know, you can put points on the board and do it for your team. And I feel like music is my team. And I just kept on creating, and kept on making people dance. And that's my mission, you know.
It's funny to think about, right? Like today, no one would think twice about someone wanting to be called DAH-VEED.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
It's so.
I hope my answer was as kind as I really feel, but in the darkness, you know, I was like, yeah, it was, they didn't have anything to compare me to. So that was frustrating for them, you know.
And
And for me, yeah, but yeah.